Hello, and welcome to today's session, Making Sense of Your Numbers Without All the Jargon. I'm Silvina. I'm going to be running this session today. So let's get started. Let's start actually right here. I want you to imagine a finance setup that actually helps you move faster. Where you can see what's working, what's not, and what to actually do next. Because for so many funders, the numbers are something that they will avoid. They feel stressful, they feel like compliance, but let me tell you, they don't have to be. Your finance setup can become your advantage, can give you the confidence to grow without any second guessings. So I see this over and over and over again. When founders delay setting up a proper system, a proper financial system, because they will say, it's too early, I don't have the money, or I don't want to allocate the money to this right now, I am too busy working on an MVP, and I will just do it when I have to. And that's actually the main reason that delay will cause exponential chaos later. When revenue streams start to grow, when the hiring starts, when you are trying to apply for grants or any other benefits, when you need to report that to investors or a very good opportunity pops up, you just won't be ready in time. Another one, you will see many versions and like Xero, Excel, Google Sheet, all your data will start living in silos. Um, but let me tell you, this is not just like you being like disorganized or you're just not being a finance person. This is totally normal and this happens in pretty much every startup. Um, but it just means that no one taught you, or no one showed you how to build a system that will actually grow with you. So today, I want to show you how to fix that. Here's how we will do it. First of all, I'm going to show you, we're going to look together at some of the common mistakes that I see on early stage and scaling founders with scaling startups. Then I'm going to introduce you to a very simple founder first way to get clarity and confidence with your numbers. I call it the Greenlee method. We're going to talk about that in a second. Then I'm going to show you how to apply that method within your own business. We're going to talk about we're going to go through a real demo with Xero and Syft. I'm going to show you some tools. I am gonna then show you how you can review your own setup and what are the next steps set you up for success. So, who am I to talk about this? I am Silvina. I am the founder of Greenlee Finance. I am an accountant by training, but a translator at heart, I will say. My whole mission is helping founders set up proper system by turning their confusing financial information into something that's clear, useful, and is actually aligned with where they want to go. I have spent over a decade now working with founders directly, as well as teams across Australia and Argentina. That's where the funny accents come from. I work with bootstrap startups all the way to VC-backed companies. I have seen a lot, and I have seen exactly what gets people in trouble. I have seen many failures, and I have helped many founders, and that's why I took all that information and I have built a method and some steps to actually fix it. without all the confusions, all the chaos, without the shame of things that you're running behind. And that's exactly what I want to share with you today. So let's start with the part that everyone secretly worries about. It's like the mistakes. What are the things that you think that you're doing wrong? What are the things that you don't even know that you're doing wrong? I want to normalize this. Pretty much every founder I work with has at least one of these going on. And this is not about shaming. This is not about thinking you are behind. It's about making them something normal so you can actually recognize them, fix them, and even better, you can try to avoid them completely. So let's get started. First one, setting up something that's a little bit forgotten, that is your chart of accounts, or doing it just for tax compliance. This is so common because most accountants will usually create the chart of accounts based on um, the business activity statements or the end of year taxes, but it doesn't help you run your business. It's actually, and it's probably not showing you which part of your business are working, or it doesn't allow you to track the revenue streams in the way you want. um, so it's not supporting your everyday decision making progress, because a good setup should be built for you first and then for the tax office. So either if you are using the chart of accounts in this very like in the same way that Zero gave you, right, from the very beginning, or if you are the ones who will just go and create new accounts nonstop, you're not alone. That's very common. But those are the things that we want to improve. So very related with the chart of account, this is the one that comes up constantly, especially when founders are experimenting with new ideas or they want to pivot their business, they want to test something. Let's say you launch a new project, but all your income is just lumped under sales, so you don't have visibility of what are the things that are performing properly. Um, and you're probably not setting up your tracking categories in Zero in a way that will serve your whole P&L. Um, and we're going to show you with some examples, because sometimes it's not something that's easy to spot. And it also is very related with like the individual needs or every business. So often, if they are not used at all, or if they are not used consistently, they are not going to help you with your future business. And next one, manual reporting. Let's imagine it's not a surprise that if you don't are not tracking things properly within your tracking categories and your chart of account, Zero is not very useful. So you will probably end up doing manual reporting. You will end up trying to do it in a spreadsheet, whatever Zero is not giving you, or trying to fix the things that you don't understand. That for sure will generate chaos and confusion, because you will end up with multiple files. You won't know which one is the latest one. You will have things called like V57. You will have board pack final in caps. Um, Essentially, you get it. When your reporting relies on manual steps, you create more and more confusion, and you are losing a lot of time just trying to do some formatting in a spreadsheet rather than actually making decisions with that data. And that's also, it's going to take you a lot of time, and probably by the time that you get those reports ready, it will be so late in the month that then you will need to start doing it all over again. So those are things that we get trapped into the routine, and I'm going to show you how to change that. um, the final one for today, but also the most important one, is actually something that we, more often than not, we don't even notice at the very beginning, is mixing up accrual versus cash accounting. And let's say you may think that you had a great month because it seems that you are having some profit on your P&L, but then you go to your bank statements and that's not telling the same story. Or quite the opposite. You have you have a lot of money in your bank, but you don't realize that that's actually because you get some prepayments for a service or a product that you then need to deliver. So not recognizing things properly in your financial software, your accounting software, will end up into you getting some making bad decisions, essentially. Because you imagine if you take all that data and then you actually go ahead, you make decisions, you go into capital raising, you go and ask for money, or you actually make commitments that then you cannot afford. So that's the biggest risk, is building a strategy on data that you cannot trust. So the good news is that we can fix it. We can create a system that will work for you, so you don't need to rebuild everything from scratch. You don't need to go throw away your Xero account and let's start one brand new, because I have seen that. I don't recommend that. So let's talk about what's next, actually. So excuse me. Let's go ahead. How do you avoid those common mistakes? How do you make sure that we are building a system that is not going to break when things are just getting excited, when you are actually ramping up your revenue, when you are trying to find a new investors, where a new opportunity pops up? So we want to build strong roots. So the next section is about the method I personally use with founders to fix this without being that very stressful, with no spreadsheets or any like accounting degree. I can teach you how to recognize what's working and what's not in your own finance setup. So I call it the Greenlee method. Let's get started. So I want you to think about your finance setup as a stack. We have multiple parts, we have a system. We need to think about the base of the structure, and in this case, how you set up your chart of accounts, how you track the information is the foundational part of your system. Nothing else is going to work if you are not using high quality data. Then, after you have the data, you need to understand how to read it. You need to build a system that will scale with you. You need to make sure that someone that's not you can understand what's going on in your business. And once we have all of that done, we then are ready to automate, to improve the processes, to build procedures, to make sure that you are being efficient and giving your time the best possible use. But all of this has a logic, and that's why we have steps. We cannot skip the order of those steps, because we need to have clarity on the chart of accounts and the tracking category that will actually reflect the reality, to then be able to create good reports. And just after that, we can then start talking about automation, AI, and how we can get better and better in our finance setup. And the reason behind that is actually, if you jump straight into testing a brand new app on the free trial and connecting that with your Xero file and downloading the app, doing all of that, but you actually have very messy accounts, all you are going to do, you're just going to speed up the mess. And I don't recommend at all doing that and just skipping the order of this process. So what I'm going to show you right now, we're going to look into each of those sections at the details, and I'm going to teach you how to apply the method yourself. So let's get started. Let's talk about the foundation. You cannot track If you cannot track what's actually happening in your business, let's say by product, channel, or even understanding what your revenue account means, you cannot make good decisions. So I'm going to show you what this look like in practice. We're going to do a quick demo. I'm going to show you the Syft Xero integration. I'm going to quickly show you how to check and how to play around with your chart of accounts, and also I'm going to show you a good and bad setup of tracking categories. A little bit of a disclaimer, Syft is a big software. I'm going to show you a couple of things today, but you can always go ahead and just set up your free trial. Let me just set up my screen. We can get started. So this is the Syft overview. We are now using the demo company. If you want to connect a company, all you need to do is click here, add company. You can click on Xero. You can add your own account. It will ask you to log in again, and it will take a couple of hours or up to a day if you have tons of data on it. So after you do that, you will have your company here, and the first things you should do is go to layouts and then go here, layouts and chart of accounts, and you will see that your whole chart of accounts from Xero will be here. Any edits that you make on this is not going to affect your Xero file. So you can test multiple options and see what type of grouping, what type of accounts, what will be the best way for you to track the information. So, and you can actually create multiple visuals. Let's say if you want to have a summary to probably share it with your board, or if you want to have a more like detailed view, you can. In this one, it's just a matter of open and close the sections. You can create some grouping. In this case, you will see I have the full list of expenses, but I will highly recommend to group them in a way that makes sense for your business. Let's say you have multiple things going into marketing, or you have business development, or even if you have R&D expenses, I highly recommend you to group them all together. So once you are happy with the layout, you can create multiple ones, and then you can apply the same layout to any of the reports I'm going to show you later. Once we are happy with this, I'm going to show you how the tracking categories from Xero are flowing into Syft as well. So I'm going to go into financials, and in this section, you will see everything that's coming from Xero from previous months. So we're going to take a look at the P&L now. And I'm going to click here, divisional, which means tracking categories in this case. And I'm going to select the one that I'm going to show you, which is locations. Okay, let's select all locations. Click apply. Yeah. And then you will see that in this case, the company is selling different things by locations, right? So it makes sense that they can track how each location is performing. We have all the information across the locations. We can see the gross profit of each one of them. We can even like track the expenses, like many things that make sense for us, because the tracking categories will fall across the whole P&L. We don't want to set up tracking categories that are only applicable to one line of the P&L, right? Or at least one of them. You have two sets in Xero. So the other way, and I'm going to show you the other way. So the other way we have here is actually by revenue stream. Even though it makes sense to track multiple business units on revenue stream, what don't like about this particular layout, and that's why I won't recommend it, is that it's too specific. And because you have that much information in there, it's a little bit overwhelming for me to make decision, and it doesn't make sense, for example, to have tips as a revenue stream. It should be allocated maybe to actually tips that happen by doing parties, or tips that happen by baking and doing the courses, right? So it doesn't make sense for tips to be allocated to as a tracking category. It will make a lot of sense. Only keep it here. We don't need to double this up. So there are multiple ways that you can start analyzing your tracking categories. And in this particular setup, I will highly recommend to take your time and not to rush into any decisions. So you can try to map out what your business will look like, or what your plans are for the future, and leave some space to grow. And then just start simple. And if you don't understand how to do it, if you need a session, you can always find a professional that will help you to create this. And again, you will see this is not even related with compliance or BAS statements or tax, income tax. This is all for you to make the right decisions for the future and actually helping you scale. So we're gonna go back to Syft in a second, but for now, let me just share this tab instead. So I have shown you multiple things here. Now it's time for us to go into how to read the information. We know how to track it, um, because like good data is only useful if you can actually read it. So this is about making sure that your numbers are telling a story, right? And for you, your co-founders, your team, and actually your investors should understand this in a second. And I'm going to show you now what investors actually want to see. And let's be clear about this. Investors are not looking for perfect numbers. They know that you are just getting started, or you are scaling and you have a lot going on, and there is a lot of moving pieces. But what they want is clarity. They want you to understand from top to bottom what's happening in your business, so you can explain to them what's working, what's not, and what's next. You don't need to wait for them to tell you what's going on in your own business. They want to see consistency. They want to see that you are tracking things in the right way, and that you are doing that proactively. They want to see you segmenting the revenue between, let's say, it's like one-off revenue versus something that's recurring. You need to understand plan A, plan B, what's going to happen, how that will affect then your gross margin, your cash runways, your burn rate. They want you to have a clear and an expense breakdown that makes sense. Another thing that's very important is that they want you to have a good detailed view of your forecast versus actuals, because they want you to be accountable, and they want you to have the clarity to understand if it's something didn't go as planned. You know the reasons, or you know how to fix it, or you know what's going to happen next. So, and on top of that, for sure, they want a clean, consistent layouts. They want consistent cadence. They want it monthly, quarterly. They want to understand what's going on. They don't want you to keep changing formulas, changing format, changing colors all the time. This is not about giving them a shiny dashboard or shiny report. This is about building trust. That's it. It's clear. Simple as that. This is about building trust with them, showing them that you know more than them what's going on in your own business. And I'm going to show you now a couple of examples on how we can achieve this with Syft. I'm going to quickly share another screen, and I'm going to show you how this look like. For example, this is a clear view of a dashboard. You can build multiple dashboards. This is all information flowing from Syft and metrics that we can use, the ones that are pre-built, or we can create our own. So we can show burn rates, we can show income and expenses, cash in, cash out, what the runway looks like. We can actually show them what the breakdown of the sales are, the expense side, multiple things that we can build here that will show the investors what they want to look at. You can also bring into these dashboards non-financial data. Let's say you want to show, you want to track your conversion rates. I got that on conversion rate. You can track churn rate. You can track website visitors, multiple things. You name it. If it has a number attached to it, we can track it here. I'm going to show you another report. By the way, this is how the dashboard will look like if you share it with someone. They could access a link and they will be able to see everything that I just show you within Syft as well. And they don't need to even have a user or anything like that. And then let me quickly show you. These are other examples of what you can achieve. This type of reports as well. You can show them as a PDF, or you can share this live view. It will be a link as well. When someone can add comments, you can start clicking information. You can see trends. You can pin this information here. You can see all the way up to transaction levels. So if someone asks a question, you will have the answer right here. So it's really cool. It has multiple ways that you can set up. Again, you can use the pre-built reports, or you can create your own. It all depends on what the complexity of your company and your information is. So coming back to our presentation, I have put together a list of what I consider are the must-have metrics that you will need to show to investors or to any stakeholders. Don't worry, we're not gonna go into details right now. You will have this handy after the session. Then we also have more advanced metrics as well. It all depends of your industry, or what are the type of things that you want to build, or what are the type of things that you want to show. If you're running like a multiple business units all at once. So yeah, a lot to talk about this section, but again, there's no like one size fits all. You will need to analyze where do you want to shine, and the things that you actually want to show others. And the most important things, you want a report that speaks for itself, and you don't need to be there adding tons of comments and a lot of information on top of that. So we have tracked it. We have learned how to read it. The last step of this system is making sure that you can run it. Is making sure that you don't spend the whole month trying to prepare the information. This is the point where we can start looking at the systems and tools that will keep your finance setup working, even as you scale. So I have put together here a list of software that will work for different sections of your business. Let's say you cannot be chasing receipts in your inbox forever, so manual systems are going to break. So at some point, we will need to start replacing them with tools, especially the AI-powered tools that can help us do our job better. So all of these are real tools that different founders will use these into different times for sure. And the good thing is you don't need to use them all. And I won't recommend at all to use them all together. You need to analyze what's going to work. Definitely, you don't need to implement more than one at the time. And you don't need to feel the pressure to use all the shiny little apps that are in there, because that will work against you. If you don't know where to get started, um, here's my recommendation. This is a starter pack. I will also focus on this structure. So you use Zero to track all the information. Once you are very sure that you like the way that Zero is tracking your information and you feel confident about it, you can start pulling data into Syft and make sure that you can have very nice looking reports. After that is working, if you want to automate things, I will highly recommend to get started with Next. It will help you automate all your bills, your invoices, and even help you with expense claims as well. It's a big software as well, so you can use it as little as much as you want. Um, but after that, you can get fancy and you can go and do other things. But for now, I would recommend that you get the three parts of the system working very well, and then you can expand from there. So we have covered a lot, and I know it can be overwhelming, um, but you have all the information available, and I think now it's time for us to do some reflection. Um, Actually, start thinking about, okay, where I'm standing right now. These are the questions I usually use with founders to help them see where they stand. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just about getting clear or where you are strong and where you need to, or maybe where you need to focus first, right? So think about, like, can you tell right now which part of your business is performing well and where are the things that you need to fix? Is it easier for you to spot what's going on by reading your P&L? Do you understand what's going on in your balance sheet? Does it make sense? Do you even look at them if it's not for like tax time? Um, how up to date you have your accounts? Um, this is all about like being clear to be able to track and be able to generate reports that will help you make better decisions. Do your reports actually take a lot of your month, of your time? When you get to the point of having that information available, is it already too late? Are you always looking at things that already happened rather than where do you want to go? Um, and then I will say, if an investor come or a new opportunity pops up and they say, I have 1 million for you tomorrow, can you share your numbers with me? um, are you going to freak out? That's another thing to consider. And also, we want to create systems that will be there even if the person that's currently running it is not there anymore. We don't want to create something, you definitely don't want to have a system running that is dependent either on you or into somebody else in your team, because that's too demanding, that's not safe. That's something that we don't want you to slow down because of that. And I have seen it over and over again. So the whole point about this is just think about this honestly. The goal of this session is not for you to like feel behind or just to have a big list of the software that you are not using right now. Is to show you how a small change right now can make the biggest difference for the future successful you. I want to bring back the accounting, the boring accounting setup into the lights. and show you that making changes now, even if you don't see it, will help you be prepared for what's coming in your business. So, what I recommend you is that if you want to keep this momentum going, if you take a moment to reflect about where do you are at this point, where do you want to go, what are the things that you feel that you need to improve, what are the things that you didn't even know that probably you are making some mistakes. I will highly recommend you just to scan the QR code, book call with me. We can look for free at your setup together. I can help you spot some opportunities to improve, help you figure it out what will make the biggest difference right now, what can make you move the needle without overwhelming you. If you have any other questions or you want to chat about a new app that's going on that will help you with your finance, or anything at all, feel free to send me an email, to find me on LinkedIn, because this is all about giving you practical ways to save time, to reduce the stress that finance can cause, and also build a system that scales with you. So, if you made it through here, I hope you have enjoyed the call today. Feel free to reach out, and all the best. Bye.